soon. I think it's 5:20 Eastern. So
that sounds good. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey, everybody, I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Brent.
And we are the cocktail evangelists behind Make and Muddle, here to spread good news about booze and other drinks too. So we appreciate you all including us in your day today. When Katie called and talked to us about what you guys were doing today, it was a lot of kismet, because Make and Muddle was founded on three big principles. The first one is collaboration. And we love to work with anybody that we can in any way that we can. The other one is connection. We firmly believe that good things happen over a good pour, no matter what that is. It can be a cocktail, it can be a spirit, it can be a mocktail, just as long as folks are really connecting with one another. And we help create good moments for that to happen. And then the third founding principle of our company is craft. And it's about being really good at what we do and striving to be better every day. So thank you for including us today in this really cool thing that you all are doing. Usually we start with a cocktail and/or mocktail. So Brent, I'm gonna put recipes in the chat as we go. Rules of engagement as we go today. Love seeing your faces up there. Please leave your cameras on. And if you have any questions, please jump in and ask. We'd ask that you mute unless you're asking a question or interjecting or something, so we don't get ambient kitchen noise for the recording. So, all right, Brent, what you got for us?
So we're going to start today with a cocktail using our honey lavender elixir. This is a syrup that has, surprisingly enough, honey and lavender in it. It also has grapefruit. It has some citrus zest in it, and one of those is grapefruit. And I know that can be an interaction issue for some people on certain medications. So it is just the rind of the grapefruit, but it gives a really delicious, complex citrus taste to this. And with this cocktail, we're going to make basically a lemonade. And if you do the cocktail version, we call it the Queen Bee. Otherwise, it's just a honey lavender lemonade. And this is a super easy, we like to call these low effort, high reward cocktails or mocktails. It's equal parts of the honey lavender elixir, lemon juice, and then either vodka or water if you're going a mocktail version. My daughter, this is one of her favorites. She is 7 and she actually loves it with sparkling water so that it gets a little bit of bubbles. You can do that as well. But when her mother and I are enjoying cocktails, she frequently enjoys a Queen Bee as well. So without further ado, I will start mixing. So I'm going to do 1.5 ounces of honey lavender elixir. Actually, this recipe calls for just 1 ounce of lemon juice. So you can always let your palate be a guide on that. If you want it a little sweeter, you can make it sweeter. If you want it a little more tart, you can pump up the lemon juice. I am actually going to do something a little different than what I usually do. I believe that you received the honey lavender elixir that's been infused with butterfly pea flower, which is a coloring ingredient. It's a naturally occurring. It's actually a flower that we add to the syrup, and it's a color changing ingredient. So it works just like a litmus paper. When it gets acid, so it's when it first, if you just brew it straight, it's actually a really deep blue color. A little acid turns it purple, and then as you add more acid, it goes up into the pink. I'm going to try to get a pretty cool ombre effect in the cocktail. So I'm not going to add the lemon juice until the very end. And I am just going to add have the elixir in here, then I'm going to do vodka. So it's 1.5 ounces. I'm going to do vodka. If you're doing water, it's just 1.5 ounces of water. Or if you want a mocktail, it's 1.5 ounces of water. Or if you want to do sparkling, you can hold off on that until the end and top your cocktail with sparkling water.
So when we talk about spirits going into these things, when we talk, we're using vodka. Vodka is a neutral spirit, and it should not have a flavor. Okay, so when people say what's your favorite vodka, I'm like, well, whatever's on sale is my favorite vodka because it shouldn't really have any flavor to it. So whatever you're working on your bar, some people prefer Tito's, some people prefer Svedka or Sky. Whatever you're working with is great.
And one thing I would add to that, a lot of people, especially currently, are calling for Tito's because they say it's gluten free. Every distilled spirit is gluten free because it's a distilled product. So there's gluten's a protein; it doesn't survive the distillation process. This is the celiacs, the Natural Celiacs Organization has come out and said this: distilled, unless there's something that's added after the distillation process, distilled spirits are all gluten free. Just to keep that in mind and be aware. So we're shaking this cocktail. There are a couple different ways to mix a cocktail. One is shaking, one is stirring. The biggest difference in that is, or a rule of thumb, is when you're using citrus or thick ingredients, you're going to want to shake it. And that it serves a few purposes. Mixing, it also dilutes the cocktail because the ice melts, and then it chills the cocktail. So when we shake, those are the three things we're doing. We always try to aim for like a 22-second shake, and that would be like the length of a happy birthday or a nice COVID hand wash is the length of the shake. I am going to mute myself and shake real quickly. It looked like Jennifer was done shaking. And
I am, yes. So what we're about to do is strain the cocktail into the cup. And what we're going to use for that is called a Hawthorne strainer. That's just your standard bar strainer. It has a spring around here or a gauge, and then you're just going to fit it down on your cocktail shaker. If you don't have a cocktail shaker, you can do that on a pint glass. You could do that on whatever. You could put it in your insulated thermos too and use that as a cocktail shaker. We have certainly done that a time or two. Then you're just going to put your finger on the top of it to hold it, and you're going to pour it over and strain it into the glass.
I always like to strain into an empty glass and then add ice later. This is a cocktail that usually we serve on the rocks. Two different ways, or a few different ways you can serve a cocktail or mocktail. One is on the rocks, the other is up. Usually you would serve a cocktail on the rocks if you're going to enjoy it over a period of time. So if you're going to sip this, while you're having a nice visit with a socially distanced visit with the neighbors, you would do it on the rocks. But if this is like a if you're having a cocktail real quickly with a couple snacks before dinner, you might want to do it up because then you just drink it in a few quick sips. So
Brent's straining in there, and you're going to see how gorgeous his. Go ahead and show him how pretty that came out, Brent.
Here. So it's a nice sort of lavender grayish purple, and then I will do an ounce of lemon juice. This is fresh squeezed lemon juice. See if we can get a color change for you on the screen here. Let's pour that right over the top. And as it turns into a nice sort of pinky purple.
And that butterfly pea flower is just a dried flower, literally, that you brew as a tea. So it's completely, we use organic butterfly pea flour. So it's all good stuff. There's no flavor, just the really pretty color in it. I am going to garnish my queen bee with a lemon peel, and I'm just using a regular vegetable peeler. I'm going to come right here to the top of the lemon, and I'm just going to pull straight down. Now be careful, because that will, you can cut your thumb there. So just slow as pro on all of this, okay? You're gonna do that, and then when you pull the lemons off, you're gonna roll this and squeeze it right over the top of the cocktail so that you get all of those gorgeous oils and that really fresh lemon scent when you put your head right down in there. All right.
Do we have folks making the cocktail?
I know. Do we have folks making the cocktail?
I got it. It's delicious.
So good. Cheers,
It
everybody.
takes the honey.
Yeah.
Love it.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Mine's a mocktail for my partner who's fasting right now for Lent. So.
Cheers. I see Steven has his Tito's vodka. That's what I use too.
Me too. Texas. Have to.
Oh, yeah.
That's
The
it.
rule.
We love it. We love it.
Oh,
A lot of
good.
times I go to just go to Costco and buy the big hand. They have they call it French vodka, but it's like $17.99 for a 1.75 liter, which is incredibly cheap, and it's their version of Grey Goose. And then I just pour it into a nice decanter. You look fancy.
This is one of those cocktails that is a perfect porch pounder too. So once you get into the season, it starts to warm up a little bit, which it has started to do in Louisville. We've lost our minds. Look, it's like, we're like, oh my God, spring is here. Thank God, get to the porch. It's been a long winter in. So yeah, this is definitely, and this cocktail batches really easily too. So if you wanted to do this in a pitcher, you would just change the measurements from ounces to cups, or just a unit in general. So the measurement can be a cup, it can be an ounce, it could be a gallon, it could be a quart, whatever that is. You would just scale it up then. And then as you start to mix, you would just taste and add what what your palate's telling you, whether it needed more sour or more sweet or a little more water to open it up a little bit, or whatever the case may be. And then folks can just help themselves as the day goes on, because I'm telling you, we're coming to the end of this soon. I miss my people so much. I can hardly stand it.
I had a quick question about the elixirs. Once we've opened them, do they need to be refrigerated, or are they shelf stable?
It's always best to
Refrigerate. That's what I figured.
The one that is absolutely necessary to refrigerate is the 2-pepper agave. So if you only have a little space in your fridge, refrigerate the 2-pepper agave, because that is a highly fermentable substance, and you will, after a week or two, start to see bubbles forming in there, and you're on your way to tequila then.
All right.
Not a bad place to go, but yeah.
It's not, right? That's a close second on favorites for ours. Brent and I are both executive bourbon stewards, which means that we can talk ad nauseum about bourbon. It's our favorite spirit, but tequila runs a real close second. So
I was a little sad that there wasn't a bourbon cocktail tonight. I'm not gonna lie. So
you know,
We'll do one for you.
I know.
Okay.
Well, the strawberry one, yeah, you can do rum or bourbon, either one with it. So
Oh.
whatever you're feeling can work there. Yeah. All right, let's move on, Brent. Let's talk about a meat cube.
Sure. So this is using our 2-pepper agave syrup. This syrup was created primarily for tequila, but it plays really well with many different spirits. It's 100% agave, sweetened from 100% agave. So if you're looking for an alternative to sugar, this has that low glycemic index. Still has all the carbs and such, but it's 100% agave. And then it also has serrano pepper, black pepper, coriander, and bitter orange. So this makes one of the easiest margaritas. You can do equal parts of this syrup with tequila and lime juice, and adjust that according to your taste, and you'll get a really great, I'd call it a spicy margarita. It's not over the top spicy. It builds as you drink it. You'll get a little bit in the throat, but it's not going to blow you out with the spice. We created this with the thought in mind that people are going to be enjoying this over time, and then also eating food with this. So we didn't want to blow your palate out. If you really want spice, you should probably use you can either muddle a hot pepper in your shaker before you shake up your cocktail or mocktail, or you can use an infused spirit. It is super easy to infuse peppers into spirits. You just cut whatever pepper you want to use into quarters, stuff it down in the bottle, and let it sit for 3 days to 2 weeks, depending on how spicy you want it to be. And then you can make your cocktail with that. So the meat cute is, I don't know if everyone's aware, a meat cute is a descriptor used for movies, kind of like You've Got Mail, where boy meets girl, they fall in love after a series of events, and live happily ever after. So easy, light, innocent. And this cocktail has an ingredient that I failed to preset, which is soda water, but I can grab that here.
Okay, while you grab your soda water, Brent, I'm going to talk about what the spiral looks like for the lemon. So this, my friends, is a channel knife. It has this little tiny groove in it in the bottom of it. that has a blade on it. And when you pull it, it creates a spiral. So this is, again, this has a little more effort to it, but this spiral in your glass is absolutely gorgeous. So you're just going to dig it in and then you're just going to pull. And the whole idea, it's kind of like when you peel an apple and you try to get the peel all the way off in one. That's the goal with the lemons too. You're trying to just get a huge lemon rind as long as you can, because you're going to wind this down around the glass on the outside. So that's going to make this really beautiful citrus spiral on the outside of on the inside of the glass, but you're going to be able to see it propped up there by the ice. All right. I'm going to do this cocktail in a Collins glass, which is a taller glass.
I'm also going to use a Collins glass. One of the things that Jennifer and I talked about when we founded this company is about making connections with people or different times. And one of the ways that you can do that is by using a handcrafted glass or a vintage piece of glassware. And the piece of glassware I'm going to use tonight was actually given to me by a friend he's older, and it was from his parents' set. So I think it was from the 40s. But it really creates a story. It's one of my most valued possessions as far as my glassware goes, because of that story. So I feel a connection to him when I use it, and then through him to his parents, which I know they were very dear to him as well. So I'll show you that glass right now. It's a nice tall, so a Collins glass or a highball glass is like this long cylinder. This one has an etched bamboo pattern on it. And it's, I don't know if you can tell, I can tell it's old because there are a lot of faults in the glass. There are like little bubbles and things in the glass that make it special to me. So
as I'm going here, I am winding that light is so hot. Sorry about that. As I'm going, I can't pull that off. I'm going to start winding this around the edge, and I'm going to add ice as I go so that it props that against the edge of the glass there.
you can also use either a chopstick or your spoon to help guide it down into the glass and get that nice spiral around the outside.
Or your fingers, whatever you prefer.
Maybe in these COVID times, stick with the utensil. One thing with cocktails is that I think that you need to take extra efforts to make it special for whoever's enjoying it.
Why do I look like the only person here trying to cut this lemon and no one else is? I feel like the total beginner and everyone else is just watching.
Yours doesn't look like his, Stephen.
Mine doesn't look like his at all.
Here's my lemon.
Okay, good. Thank you, Kate.
I don't have that little tool, so I just cut it with a knife. Sorry.
That works too.
Gotta
Absolutely.
Yeah. Taking this extra step and the extra effort with the lemon peel is one way that you can make someone who's not drinking for whatever reason feel like special and included in a special evening.
Part of what Brent and I love about cocktails is that, and mocktails both, is that when you start to, there's like this time of the day, right? It becomes cocktail hour, right? Or mocktail hour. It's a separation between what was, which is work day, and what is, which is family or friends time or downtime or whatever that is. And we love the ritual that happens between those two specific times of the day. So this is a way that we kind of shed what's happened in the day. I'm going to go wind a lemon rind just for a minute and take a breath and take a pause and think about what's coming next for the rest of the night. So this is one of those fun things to do while you're decompressing.
So the recipe on this is about an ounce of simple syrup, the 2-pepper agave.
An ounce.
And then I think it says a little bit less than an ounce of lemon juice. And again, you can adjust this to your taste. You can go either up or down.
Brent, I love the story you told about your glass and how it makes you feel connected. That's so neat. That's such a nice way of thinking about feeling connected to people when you're not actually together. It can be that simple. I like that.
Thank you. And then that's, so if you're making the mocktail, that's all you put into the mocktail if you're making the meat cute. And you know what, I will stick with that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shake. If you want to turn this into, if you want to turn it from a meat cute into what we call the tender date, you add liquor. So the one liquor that we would recommend is a unaged brandy or a pisco, but you could do rum or anything that you have on vodka, anything you have on hand with this. So I am going to quickly mute and shake my cocktail for a second.
All right. Nick,
What
go
about
ahead.
vodka? Is vodka or rum?
Either one. This agave, it also does beautiful with tequila too. So if you have tequila at the house,
Yeah.
add some of that. That could work too.
Okay.
It's going to give you a little bit of spice, a little bit of heat, not too much. So, and this is an easy cocktail to adjust all the components of. They're just a few ingredients. So.
Like 1 ounce?
About an ounce of the syrup, or yeah, ounce and a half. I always feel a cocktail has an ounce and a half of booze in it, at least.
Depending on how many, right, we're doing. Yes.
So I strained it over my my glass of ice, and I'm just going to top that with some sparkling water. I'm going to agitate it a little bit just to get it mixed, but not to interrupt the my lemon zest spiral. And then I do have in here a sprig of rosemary. Rosemary has a really nice smokiness. It'll bring out some of the flavors with that. Whenever we use a fresh herb, we always want to wake it up a little bit. You can do this smacking it on either side of your hand, or I always just like to clap it between my hands. And that really wakes up the flavors, the aromatics, aromatic oils. And so where's the front of the glass? So I just tuck it down there along the side and enjoy. If you have straws, you could do a nice tall straw on this. Otherwise, you really get down and you can smell all the that serrano pepper and the rosemary. Smell really great. And the lemon, the fresh lemon.
It's good. I put too much lemon juice in mine, but it's really good. It's kind of safe.
A little more agave. I feel like this is complex enough that you don't really miss the alcohol. A lot of times, mocktails are sort of afterthoughts, and this, I feel like it with heat and with there's different layers of flavor that it really carries on its own as a drink without missing the spirit.
Yeah, and that rosemary, we don't use rosemary in a whole lot of, a couple cocktails we use them in, but every time we use it, it's like, oh, that is just right. That's exactly what I want to smell when I go down for a drink. So
I fully approve.
Excellent. And did you make it with tequila? Is that?
Yep, tequila.
I do too. The tequila's good in it.
Excellent.
so good.
Excellent.
You have a preferred brand of tequila?
These are really great products you have.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So we try to do, we do the heavy lifting. We find all the exotic ingredients, make the recipes so that you can spend more time connecting with the people that you want to share a cocktail or mocktail with.
Part of what we love about tequila and bourbon and rum and any brown spirit, any aged spirit, we call those legacy spirits. Because it's not just distillate into a bottle. It is a history of, it's a tradition of distillation and bottling, and it's multiple generations of these things, and it's the forethought that goes into it and the care that's taken with it and the time. Like you can't cheat time in bourbon barrels or in tequila barrels or in rum barrels, any of those things. So I love that. In brown spirits, you can taste a term that's very common in wine, but not so much in spirits, is the terroir, right? You taste the land in it. And when you are drinking tequila, it's 100%, if it's 100% blue agave, it comes from a very specific region of Mexico. And you can taste Mexico when you taste that, when you go down and taste any tequilas. We highly recommend if you want to collect or start tasting things and you're not really sure where to start, we would recommend starting with Blancos. It is the purest form of their distillate, and you're going to get the biggest flavor. You're going to figure out what their flavor profile is out of the gate. As it ages, it's going to round it out a little bit. It's going to give it a little smoke from the barrel. It's going to give it a little color from the barrel. And you're not going to get as quite a pure taste as you would doing the Blanco. But we highly recommend, we're big collectors here, and we love the process of tasting and sharing that with friends too. So let us know if you have any questions about any products along the way, any spirits. We're glad to guide you in any questions you have about them.
Yes, and there's always a fine line between collecting and hoarding. So
I know what you're talking about.
I think I'm hoarding the lavender honey thing. What would happen if I drank that by itself? Would I feel like gross?
We've actually had people use it in their baking. Like we had somebody use it in cream cheese frosting for cupcakes.
Oh, that's a great idea. I have a bridal shower this weekend. Man, I should just do that.
There you go. Yes, yes. And especially if you have the butterfly pea, it'll do that purple for you in your frosting, all natural. That would be gorgeous. Yeah. Any of our products, we encourage people to play with them in any way. Mocktails, cocktails, food, desserts. Our 7 syrup does a whipped cream like nothing you have ever had. So yeah, we love that. And tag us if you figure something out. We'd love to see new creations.
sure. And that so the honey lavender elixir was actually created as a hot toddy syrup for gin. So I really enjoy hot toddies, and I really enjoy gin. Excuse me, and I wanted to create a syrup to do that. So you can easily do a hot toddy. You just do 1.5 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of the syrup, splash a little bit of lemon juice, and top it with hot water. Out of this world.
All of those recipes are found on our website too. We have hundreds and hundreds of recipes for all of these products. So feel free to go check this out at www.makeandmuddle.com. Our products are all available there too in multiple sizes. We'll ship them straight to your door, and bar products, barware as well. If you need some shakers or jiggers or bar spoons or Hawthorne strainers or whatever. So.
Absolutely.
All right, we are going to move on to our next cocktail. This syrup, y'all, it's so new, our labels aren't even done for it yet. So you all got the handwritten labels. We are in production on labels right now. This is our strawberry basil solution. And this happened, it started maybe a year and a half ago. And last summer, I really started to drill down about it because I love those two flavors together so much. And we kind of put it on the back burner until winter, and we kind of revisited it. I was like, I really think this needs to be a spring release. So we are bringing it to you this year. This syrup has strawberries and water, and then some organic cane sugar in it. And then we add pink peppercorns to it to give this little layer, this little depth of flavor that kind of cuts the sweet a little bit and gives you a little heat on that end. And then of course the fresh basil, just it's all in your face when you taste it. So, all right, recipe is going to go in the chat now. And Brent, talk to us about what we're doing with this cocktail.
Sure. So this cocktail is one of my favorite cocktails, especially as a bartender. I am building this in the glass. And when you build it in the glass, it just means you're going directly into the glass that you're going to enjoy it in. And you just stir it up and go. So very few dirty ditches, and it's easy to enjoy. If you're doing this as a mocktail, you'll just eliminate spirit and then add more ginger beer. I am going to do this with some dark rum, because one of my all-time favorite drinks is a dark and stormy, which is dark rum and ginger beer and lime juice.
Me too. I love dark and stormies. I first had one in Charleston. So good.
The dark and stormy is actually one of the cocktails that got me interested in cocktail mixology in general. I am going to do 1.5 ounces of dark rum. And when it comes to rum, everyone has their favorite. My favorite, just like everyday drinker, is the Cruzan brand, because I really feel like you can taste the cane sugar in this. And I feel like it's a great value. So over like Bacardi. And that's
I'm
my
using Diplomatico, which is our other very, very favorite rum.
it's a little more
It's
expensive than Cruzan, but
amazing. If you're going to have one rum on your bar, we recommend this one. I mean, it's not, it can do anything, but you could have this on the rocks and it would be absolutely delicious.
absolutely. And it makes a great old fashioned if you want to.
Yes, it does. Yes.
So this is super easy. I put the spirit in the glass, and then I'm gonna grab my honey lab or strawberry basil solution, and we're doing. I need to scroll down.
We are doing 1.5 ounces of strawberry syrup.
And then topping that with ginger beer. I'm using Barrett's ginger beer. It's Bermuda ginger beer. Probably my second favorite ginger beer ever. My first, there's a local company here in Batavia, Illinois called Windmill Ginger Brew. And they actually do a little bit of fermentation and really get this crazy. It's the best ginger beer you'll ever have in your life.
And they ship actually also. This is what I'm using tonight is that Windmill.
Are we putting ice in this thing?
Oh
We
yeah,
are.
ice in the glass, like 3 or 4 cubes.
Okay.
I'm going to do a fresh squeeze of lime over the top of mine before I start adding anything too, because I like that fresh lime down in there.
I just poured a little bit of lime juice in there that I.
Jesus. This is why I think. Such a mess.
So the glass that I'm using today is actually a handmade vessel. That's another way that we say that you can make the connection. You can have a conversation with a person that's not at the table. So this glass was made by a Louisville artist named Stephen Cheek, and it is a wood-fired, salt-fired, salt-glazed vessel. So I really feel like you have a connection with someone else that's not at the table when you use either vintage or a handmade vessel. Cheers, y'all.
I am going to garnish this with a little bit of fresh basil because I love basil and I want to smell it when I go down into the glass.
They actually had really good basil at the store today, so I grabbed some.
I might do a little wedge of lime too.
That is like summertime in a glass.
Yeah, the solution
so
is so good.
My mom already stole it from me. She's in the next room. I'm like, give me my drink back. It's a strawberry dark and stormy. I love it.
It is that, yeah, that we haven't really found anything that it doesn't love yet. I mean, we've done gin and vodka and bourbon and rum,
And rum, yeah.
tequila. Oh, it makes a killer margarita. So.
Tequila is,
That's awesome. Love it.
yeah. And you'll notice if you go to the website and look at our recipes, there's the syrups that we've had for longer. We have a long list of recipes, and the newer ones have fewer recipes. This is definitely one where we haven't. I don't even think it's on our website yet because we don't.
It hasn't been officially released because we don't have labels yet.
Hey, Katie, I was thinking just like 20 minutes ago that was a really long 3 hours, but my opinions changed dramatically. Good.
Well,
good.
thanks.
My husband just stole my honey lavender.
Any questions about anything that we've covered so far? Any questions, additional questions about spirits or product?
Where are you located? I missed that.
We are in 2 cities. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and that's where our production is here in Louisville. And Brent is in outside of Chicago in the suburbs in Geneva.
Okay.
But we ship worldwide, so.
Yeah, it's starting to warm up here. It was 40 degrees today, so
Warm.
It's like hot for Chicago, yeah.
Actually, yesterday it was almost 60, so crazy weather. But
I have family in Schaumburg, and my cousin always texts me. She's like, "We have the windows open today. It's 50 degrees."
my daughter's like, I don't need a jacket. I'm like, yes, you do. It's 43.
They're immune to the cold.
Your shorts.
I'm not immune to the cold. We were, you guys probably saw in the news, Texas blackouts a couple weeks ago with our freeze. I was one of those lucky ones without power for 7 days.
Oh.
Where in Texas are you, Amanda? I can't remember which
Yeah,
part.
just north of Dallas.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that's awful.
Oh, that's rough. Whew.
Yeah, I barely survived.
Yeah.
Your pipes do all right? They didn't freeze?
Yeah, we didn't have water for the whole 7 days, but we weren't one of the people that had the burst pipes
Oh,
after.
that's good.
Yeah, a lot of people I know still have terrible plumbing problems.
Wow. Ugh.
That's awful. Oh, I'm glad your power's back on. Good grief.
Me too. Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't work pitch and catch. We didn't have cell phone service. The towers were down, so it was like literally being in like dark ages.
You were Little House on the Prairie. That's what was
We were,
happening.
yeah, boiling water when we finally got it to wash our dishes because we were on a boil notice. I'm like, where am I? Who am I? I didn't even know.
Oh
I
my
would text her
gosh.
once a day and be like, I need proof of life. How are things?
Yeah.
And like 3 hours later, I'd get a text. We're live. We're cold.
Yeah, I'd get service to like every couple hours for like 2 minutes. I don't know why.
Oh my gosh. Do you all have a fireplace or anything? How did you deal with it?
Literally, my 3 kids, me and my husband, in our king bed with lots of blankets. You couldn't get a hotel.
Oh, no.
You didn't have service to try and get online to get a hotel. The 4th night, we finally got a hotel room down in Dallas. But the roads were terrible too. We're not equipped for that. So it was just,
Whoa.
like you saw in the news, it was awful.
Oh. Well, I'm glad it's over and I'm glad you all are okay. Good grief.
Yes, thank you. One for the books.
Seriously, what a year we're having.
Yes. I would say
Making
2020
memories.
was like the teaser trailer.
Don't say that. I
It
can't.
better not be. Yeah.
Don't embrace the challenge.
I was looking over some posts on my Facebook feed from April of last year, and I was like, oh, bless my heart. I was already tired of it. I had no idea what was coming. You just better buckle up, girl. Yeah, we were just a month into it at that point. We barely got under the wire. Brent and his wife got married on March 13th last year.
Oh, wow.
Celebrated in Chicago. As we were driving home, Indiana was closing.
They had shut down on the 14th. So
They did.
I
Yep.
still have PTSD from spring break. Our kids went on spring break the week of March 8th, and then we didn't go back. And next week is spring break. So I'm like, please send it back. Please send it back.
yeah.
I was on a flight to Africa this time last year. Like my partner and I were having our vacation in Africa. I defended my dissertation on Monday. I passed. I worked Tuesday, worked Wednesday remote, and then flew out to JFK Wednesday night. And then it was like everything just happened. We were in South Africa and the Seychelles, and when we left South Africa, 2 weeks later, they were completely shut down. We just happened to be able to get back into the country. It was wild. So, but we actually were spent our entire time there. Our whole vacation was not interrupted. We were actually able to do all of it.
I've heard it's beautiful there.
yeah.
Is it stunning?
Oh, it's gorgeous. It was absolutely, trip of a lifetime.
amazing.
It was wonderful.
Did
So-
you guys do all inclusive or did you?
No, we planned it ourselves. So Adam really likes to plan trips. And so we had found a really good deal through Qatar Air for airfare to the Seychelles. And then South Africa was always top on our bucket list. So we actually used miles to go enter Africa. So it was 7,000 miles to go from the Seychelles to South Africa, which is a 24-hour flight. But because it was all in the continent of Africa, it was the lower price redemption. So anyhow, but yeah, we just Airbnb'd it and rented cars and drove around and did a lot of excursions on boats. It was great. And now I have been
I
in an
know.
apartment or in the house
I miss
ever
travel
since.
so much. I could
I
cry.
miss travel so much. That's the thing I miss the most.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I can
So.
relate too.
but in terms of rums, so there's a rum that's made in the Seychelles called Takamaka. If you can ever find it, I highly recommend it. So
Oh, good. Okay.
yeah,
Well, African rums are legendary. So
they're
yeah,
so good, so
so
good.
good. Hmm. Yeah, I think Guyana has some of my favorite ones.
Mm.
Beautiful rums. Hmm. Well, guys, we really appreciate you all hanging out with us tonight and keeping us in your day. So any dollars that you spend with local business go directly back into our company to make delicious products and into the communities where we live. So we have taken over our production this year, which has been really exciting for us and a huge learning curve. So we are looking forward to really bringing you some delicious things in the next year. So if you ever have questions about products or about recipes or any of those things, please feel free to email us or text us or hit us up on Facebook or Instagram or any of those things. And if you're making cocktails at home, tag us in your cocktails so that we can see what your creations are. So, all right, I'm going to
Thank you, Jennifer. It was
Yes.
wonderful.
Thank you
Brent.
so much.
Thank you so much. All right, let's do
Delicious. Thank you.
Happy spring.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Thank
Cheers,
you.
y'all. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Have a good
guys, for
year.
joining.
Thanks.
Katie, thanks so much for arranging this.
Sure. Happy
Amazing,
to.
Katie. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. It was fun.